All right, welcome back. We're going to take a look at infinite loops. Now, an infinite loop is a sequence of instructions that will continue endlessly until an intervention is made. Now, we have intentional infinite loops and we have unintentional infinite loops. An intentional infinite loop can be extremely useful. Just like with my user interface right now, it's constantly checking for user inputs. So if I was to move my mouse to the right, it will move my cursor to the right. And if I move my mouse to the left, it moves my cursor to the left. And another good example would be a web server. So a web server is going to be constantly listening for client requests. And if it gets one of those requests, it's going to serve the requested page back to the user's browser. So we have a very, very simple web server here, and it's going to be constantly listening. And if someone requests the home page, it's going to be handled by this function here, and it's just going to serve this text right here. And if someone requests for the /about route, it's going to be handled by this function, which will serve this text right here. So let's go ahead and run that. All right, and as you can see, let's close that. As you can see, our application is not terminating. It's continually listening, as you can see over here. So let's go to our browser, and let's go to our home page. There we go. Welcome to the home page. And if we were to request for the /about route, it's going to take us to our about page. And as you can see, there's not much to see here. So to stop our server, we have to use an interrupt. Now, if you remember anything from this video, this would be the one thing to remember. If you have an infinite loop going in your terminal, hold down Control and hit C to kill that application. There we go, exit status 2. At some point in your career, you're going to create an unintentional infinite loop, and you're going to want to know how to shut that down. So that's just Control C. So let's go ahead and take a look at some infinite loops and change directories. All right. So there's several ways you can create an infinite loop. For one here, we have our for loop, and if we never get a false here, this won't ever terminate. So we're simply creating our variable I, and for each loop, we are adding 1 to the value of I, and then we're printing that to the terminal. Now, just for your own safety, just know that an infinite loop can easily lock up a system. It might become unresponsive, and if you have any work that isn't saved or auto-saved, you're just going to lose all your progress right there. So just remember, if you're going to try one of these, you're trying at your own risk, and I am not responsible for it. So we have our loop here. So let's go ahead and run that. And there we go. I'm going to hit Control C, and it's going to exit out. So since there's no way to return a false for our for statement, it will continually keep running. Now, for instance, if I just put false in there, it just won't run. There we go. Now let's go down to our next example. All right, and pretty much the same thing as the other one. If we have true in front of our for, it'll just continually keep running. Sometimes you might be returning a variable through here, and if you don't allow that variable to ever turn false, your loop is just going to continually keep running. Let's run that. There we go. Let's go ahead and kill it. As you can see, in an infinite loop, it can run pretty quick. I don't even have that fast of a processor, so if you have a faster processor, it can go even quicker. All right, here we have a 3-component if loop, and as you can see, we have our starting condition and we have our stop condition. So as long as I is less than 10, it will continue running. And as you can see, our mistake is right over here. Instead of incrementing I to where it will eventually be greater than 10 and return a false here, we are going the wrong direction. We are actually decrementing. So let's run that so you can see what's going on. There we go. So obviously, we need I to approach our stop condition. And if you're going in the completely wrong direction, it can't do that. All right, here's another for loop, and we're not returning anything in front of the for. So one of the ways to get out of this is with a break statement. Now we haven't covered break statements yet, but basically remember that statements control the execution flow. So what a break statement will do is it will break out of the innermost loop that it is in. Now we only have one loop here, so it's just going to break out of the for loop. But our problem here, as you can see, as long as I is less than, well, let's just go ahead and run this real quick. There we go. So as you can see, I is counting up, and it never actually becomes less than -10. So our stop condition here, so if we want this is what's going to break us out of our loop. And since for this little block of code to execute, we need this to be true. And since I is constantly increasing, this expression here with the less than or equal to operator is never going to return true because we need I to be less than 10. So we would need it to actually decrease. There we go. All right. Like I said, if you're going to try anything on here, you're trying it at your own risk. Just remember, if you do create an accidental infinite loop, Control-C is a good way to interrupt that. These can have real-world consequences, besides just locking up your PC. If you did it on your web server, you could be losing your business some money. So anyway, I hope that was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.